was a trip I'd been looking forward to for a while, driving from Georgia to California to visit an old friend. I chose to drive, not just to save money on a flight, but to enjoy the sights along the way. When I finally reached San Diego, exhausted and eager to rest, I arrived at the hotel I had booked on Expedia. From the moment I saw it, something felt off. The building seemed to whisper, "Run." But fatigue won over caution, and I decided to check in anyway. I received my room key and trudged up to my room, locking the door behind me, and securing the bar for extra safety. Always on guard. I tried to relax. Around 4 a.m., a noise jolted me awake. Someone was trying to get into my room. The door creaked open, but was stopped by the bar. My heart pounded as I quickly threw on some clothes, and approached the door. Through the slit, I saw two men. Their hands reached through, fingers curling and grasping at the air. They were whispering, "Come here, pretty girl." Oh, a pretty face. My blood ran cold. Panicking, I grabbed the phone and called the front desk, my voice trembling. "Someone's trying to get into my room." The response was chilling. "Oh. I didn't know you were still here." Furious and terrified, I packed my things and went to the front desk. The woman there looked at me, confused. She claimed I had no reservation, even though I showed her my check-in papers, parking decal, and room key. She said the room I was in was rented out for the next month. I was stunned, struggling to comprehend. She then added, "Oh, I see you booked through Expedia. We don't partner with them." Still baffled as to how I got a room in the first place, I demanded she call her manager. She refused, saying it was too early. So I waited until 9 a.m., seething with anger. When the manager finally arrived, I demanded a refund, and thankfully, got it. I checked out immediately, never looking back. Reflecting on the ordeal, I shudder to think what might have happened if I hadn't locked the bar on the door. In the Greek islands, our trip took a dark turn when our taxi driver accused us of putting a dent in the side of his cab. It all started after we gave the roof a tap to let him know we were all out of the car. Next thing I know, he has my friend by the throat. The locals come running out, pinning us all against the wall, until the cops show up. Two guys, in no uniform, and without asking any questions, they throw both of my friends into the car. Panicked, I ran to the police station. It was a dingy little shack, with no sign or anything. I found out my friends had attempted to run away, not believing these men were police. They asked for ID, but were told to be quiet. One of them got caught, beaten up, and thrown into a cell. Cue me. I arrive at the station. None of the cops can barely speak English. The taxi driver is there, going crazy, talking in Greek to the cops, pointing at me, then at his car. I knew what he was telling them. I tried to act out what happened, pointing to the dent, shaking my head, then miming tapping on the roof. They grabbed me, and took me off the premises. As I waited out on the road, a friend of the taxi driver tries to fight me. I held him away, and said, "No." One of the cops comes out, sees us, and thankfully, this guy backs off. Eventually, a young cop, the only one who could speak English, told me they wouldn't talk to me until I brought my other friend back to the station. This cop was reasonable. I later found out he was the one who stopped the other cops from beating my friend to a pulp. He told me as soon as I brought the other guy back, we could sort it all out. I ran back to the hotel, grabbed my friend, and we headed back. Long story short, they said we could either pay the taxi driver €200 for the damages, or my friends would get taken to another island, and put on trial. It was complete bullshit. But we had to leave at 11 a.m. the next day, and it was already 4 a.m. I had enough. I agreed to pay the money to the crooked son of a bitch. It was a really bad way to end what was such a great trip to Europe. But all was well in the end. We split the fine, and I got my friends out, slightly in one piece. I bet the cops and the taxi driver split the cash too. I was leaving from Pécs, Hungary, heading to Zurich, to catch a flight back to Boston via JFK in NYC. To get to Zurich, I needed to take a 5-hour bus ride to Budapest, then take the subway a few stops until I reached the main rail station. By the time I got to Budapest, I was tired, hungry, thirsty, and really had to use the bathroom. But I decided to carry on, holding it in until I reached the main railway station. I made it there just in the nick of time. Holding it in for that long really exhausted me. All I wanted was to get on the train and sleep. After waiting 2 hours, my train finally arrived. I found my cabin, where 2 portly Hungarian girls were already inside watching movies on their laptop. They seemed very friendly and easygoing. I mingled a little to be polite, but I really just wanted to sleep. Then, disaster struck. 2 Roma girls literally fell into our cabin, laughing their heads off, and blasting dance music on their Nokias. They were playing 2 different songs on 2 different Nokias. I ride the subway every day in Boston, so I'm used to people who don't know how to use headphones. I didn't think much of it at first. They didn't speak a lick of English, but they really took a liking to me. Every time I closed my eyes, I got poked in the side of the head, and giggled at like I was an animal. They really wanted to talk to me through the other Hungarian girls, asking if I had a girlfriend, where I was from. Occasionally breaking out a few lines of broken English themselves like, "handsome boy," while petting my head. I believe in personal space, but I knew arguing with them would probably be futile. After a while, I buried myself in one of my books, realizing I would get no sleep. At some point, someone broke out a porno and put it on the Hungarian girl's laptop. I would get poked, shown the porno and laughed at. Now, I'm no slouch when it comes time to get nasty. I get nasty, but this was not the time for that. I was not attracted to these girls, they smelled like a hockey player's foot, and I was going on 24 hours with no sleep. Plus, I had just left my girlfriend in Pécs, and I was still in love. I wasn't going to screw around. Finally, one of them puts her hand on my junk, bites my ear and asks me, "Want sex me?" To which I replied, "No," taking her hand out of my lap. I then got a barrage of "segfetch" from the 2 Roma. Look it up. I spent the next 6 hours with these girls, blasting music, poking me, berating me, and holding in a piss, for fear of them rifling through my stuff. I guess I'm kind of a pushover in these situations. I didn't want to overreact or lose my cool. I just wanted the train ride to end, without getting stabbed or worse. Karma finally shifted my way. When we hit the Switzerland border, the girls were detained by Border Patrol, probably for being Roma. I know the Roma people have a bad rep in Europe, but I hated these girls at this point. I hated them so much. I got a good hour of drifting in and out of naps, but I still felt like crap when we pulled into the Zurich train station. More good news awaited me at Zurich airport. I found out they overbooked the flight, and I had been bumped up to first class. I went from sharing a cramped cabin with 2 Roma snookies, to having a chair that turned into a bed, unlimited wine, and a 4-course meal. What a way to end the trip.